Hello, everyone. This is Professor Excel, and I am back on day 2 of your first week at the job as an Excel analyst. So, welcome to your first official day if you saw the previous video, which kind of just introduced the course. You didn't really miss anything if you skipped that one. It just kind of highlighted what we're going to be talking about and how this course is going to go. So, day 2 is going to be talking about the first data request. In the topic, we're going to start easy and do some formatting and tables, as well as some kind of quick tricks for Excel. So day 1's complete. Day 2 is next in the books. So we've all gotten crazy emails like this, and this is our first official day, and of course we already have work to do. So what's the end goal? What is being asked of us here? Okay, so trying to get the yellow highlighted information to be joined into this Excel sheet from the finance Excel spreadsheet, okay? And then sort it from highest to lowest overhead charge. So if you watch the video, the first video of day 1, you already got a sneak peek at what these spreadsheets look like. But let's open them both up and see if we can get that goal accomplished. So I showed this on day 1. 2 really messy spreadsheets. And I mean, this has probably happened to you if you used Excel before. Oftentimes you'll get sent data and it's crappy data, or the data just isn't formatted properly. We got a case of both here. So as promised, let's take it slow. We know that we need this highlighted column filled and this highlighted column filled, and then they want it sorted by this column here. How do we do that? Well, again, let's take it step by step, right? Ultimately, we're going to get this information joined into this information, and we're going to format all this data. But let's start off by formatting this spreadsheet, the spreadsheet that we're going to join with this one. Let's not get overwhelmed. Let's get rid of this one, and let's just focus on this. So we can see right now that there's an EID, employee ID, an overhead charge, how much the employees are charging to overhead, and then it looks like another column with the correct percentage, and someone said they couldn't figure out how to put it in percent formatting. Well, let's start easy here. You probably already know this Excel trick if you've used Excel before, but you can see we can't see the employee IDs here. All we have to do is take our mouse over between column A and column B and double click. That's going to automatically make it so all the values are shown. And again, you probably used that trick before, but if you haven't, maybe that's a new one for you. And before we go any further, when I'm talking about columns, I'm talking about A through, well, all the other letters here, but let's just look at A through Z because that's on the screen. And when I'm talking about rows, I'm talking about rows 1 through basically infinite amount of numbers there going down. And in addition to that, I might sometimes specifically say, let's look at cell A2. Okay, column A, row 2, this cell here. Just to keep everyone on the same page, I know if you're tuning in and you have used Excel before, you already know all of this. So just feel free to skip ahead, and I'll try to label this so you know that this is real beginner stages here. But it's good to know so we're all on the same page. So we just learned how to space this so we can properly see all the employee ID numbers. And this, I just like doing this so it's easier for me to see the data and what we're dealing with and make sure there's no issues or blanks or anything like that. And we can comb through this data. It looks like we've got 100 rows. Because we have a title row, just subtract 1 from this. So we've got 100 rows of data. And it looks like our second problem is the fact that we have this percentage here, but it's definitely not an overhead charge because when you're talking about overhead percent charges, you want to talk at 100% on the high end, 0% on the low end. So 2,300% doesn't make any sense for this purpose. So how did they get this number? I guess that's the first question you might be asking yourself, and one that might be important to know so you can avoid that same issue. So watch this. I'm in cell E5 right now. I'm going to type 23, and I'm going to type 22. Just the numbers, okay? I type those in, and I say, oh, no, I wanted those to be a percent. So I come up to the toolbar, and I click this here, the percent style. See what just happened? 2,300%, 2,200%. So that's how the issue started. I'm going to show you how to resolve it in a minute, but before I show you how to resolve it, let me show you how to avoid it. If you know you're going to do percentages, type in something like that, 0.23, 0.22. See, it already corrected that one because I had it formatted, but you've got the 0.23 here. Hit the percent, 23%. That's how you avoid it. So always think, if you're going to start entering percentages in number values without clicking the percents up here to format it, start with the decimal if you can do that in your head, right? And then when you go to do it, boom, beautiful. You don't have this issue like they have in column B. How do we fix it, right? We don't want to go in and type, it's only 100, and if you're really panicking and you didn't know how to do it, okay, makes sense. Let's just do it one by one. I'm going to show you a really easy trick. It's already in here. I put it in here. All you have to do is type a simple formula. So we've already got it here, but let's start from the beginning. Cell C3 I'm in right now. I'm going to click equals. I'm going to select cell B3, and I'm simply going to divide by 100. See what that did? Gave me 22%. That's exactly what they meant to have there. So that's an easy way to get this value, and you can divide it by anything. Say it's for some reason a higher value, you just divide it by 1,000, or divide it by 10 if it was 200% or something like that. So, and play around with it. Maybe you can't do the math in your head, so you do this at first. That's okay. You know it's probably not supposed to be 2%. Take the 0 off. There's no harm in playing around with it. So this is starting to look a little better. I hope you would agree. And a little more digestible for our next project of joining. Let's get rid of this. And real simple, you all probably already know this, but just hit the delete button to get rid of any data you don't want in here. So that's gone. Now, I don't want to have to type in equals divided by 100 for each and every cell value. So what can I do instead? Real easy. If you go to the bottom right, you'll see this. Let me see if I can zoom in for you. Yeah, you'll see this little kind of tiny square here. Double click that. Left, double click that. Look at that. Auto fills the formula for you all the way down. So you can see, take a look, if you're curious, say, oh, did it really do it the right way? Yeah, do some spot checking. 56%, 1%. Yeah, this looks good. This is what we wanted. So now we finally turned their data into data that's meaningful and something we need to use for the next step, which is joining. Before we do that, let's do a few more tricks here. Okay. We don't want this anymore, but let me tell you what's going to happen. If I delete this, reference. Well, why is that? Click your undo button or press Control Z. It's because these are formulas. So before we go deleting this, here's a trick that I always use if we know we're going to and it's common sense, but sometimes it isn't when you're first starting out. You've got all these values. You've got a formula in here. You know they're right. There's nothing else you need to do with them right now. Go ahead, and if you like doing this where you just highlight everything, that's fine, but let me show you another trick that you might know, you might not. Hold with me Control, Shift, and the down arrow on your keyboard, all at the same time. See that? Highlighted all the values, continuous values in your column. Do me a favor, right click and copy or Control C. And then at the top of your values here, cell C2, right click and paste options, and we're going to paste the values. Okay. And if you don't like these squiggly lines, here's a quick trick to get that away. Just click save. And it's a double whammy right there. You're going to also save your data. Now look, no formula, hard pasted. And when I go to row B or to column B here, and I highlight it all, like I said, we want to get rid of this. So I highlight the entire column, column B. Right up here, delete cells. There we go. Everything's in the same spot. Didn't go away, no reference error. So what's next? Do we want to do anything with this? Well, let's do a little formatting. Click in cell A1 for me, or just watch if you're following along. Let's do our trick again. Control, Shift, down arrow. Keep your fingers held on Control, Shift, and hit the right arrow now. See that? It highlighted all the data that we have, columns and rows. Makes it a lot easier instead of going and highlighting everything. Next step, let's insert table. You can click Control T, see the shortcut there? I usually just go and insert table, but you can always use the shortcut. It's going to ask you, where's the data? Well, you've already got that, so you don't have to worry about it. And my table has headers? Sure does. It has EID and OH charge. So let's click OK. Well, let's say not now to that. So we've got the EID column. We've got the overhead charge column. But it's not really formatted the same, and that kind of bothers me. So let's Control Shift down arrow. Practice that again. Control Shift right arrow all at the same time. Let's center the data by clicking this. Let's bold the data by clicking that. And let's go up here and pick a font we want. Let's keep it Calibri here, if I'm pronouncing that right. And let's make it font 12. And just as we did before, let's double click between the columns so we can make sure everything's expanded. And I'm going to add this a little bit more. Another tip, if you want to custom make your column widths or make sure they're the same, click the entire column, right click, and hit column width. You can see it's 12.57. Let's say I want to make it 15. Type that in. And let's say, oh, well, I want to keep this consistent too. Right click the whole column, column width, 15. There you go. You can do the same thing with rows. It's great for formatting, or if you just kind of are like me and you want to make sure everything matches up. So that's a really quick lesson of some quick tips that you probably already knew, but if you're just joining us, you're a brand new Excel analyst, maybe you didn't. And I hope it helps you out. We're going to stop there. Digest that information. And then on our next video, I'm going to show you how to format that other Excel documents. And in addition to that, let me open it for us here. I'm going to show you how to join these two. In addition to that, I'm going to also format this because we've got a lot going on here. So this is the first step. We're going to go to step 2 and format this in the next video. And then the final step, we're going to join them. And the next step after that, which I guess I shouldn't have said final step, is we're going to use pivot tables to do some more analytics on it. Another thing that you might want to do just before we wrap up here is make sure to save your file. My suggestion when you're starting off in Excel, and maybe if it is your first day on the job, is to create files for each and every project you have and save each file in that. Even if you only have a final spreadsheet, save that work of the formatting that you just did and the data that you're going to join so you can go back to it if there's ever an error. Another thing I like to do, double click where it says Sheet 1 and type something that you'll remember what this is. Data, overhead charges. Maybe put the date, something like that. All you have to do is double click it and you can type in whatever you want. It just looks cleaner. It's easier for you to remember. So we've got everything formatted here and everything looks good. I'll show you one more thing while we're here. Overhead charge. We know we made a change here. Let's put in a new comment. We change this by dividing by 100. So you know if finance sends you another spreadsheet, you know how to fix that next time. And you can always come back to, like I'm saying, saving it in that same project file and knowing exactly what you did last time around in case you forget. I think I'm going to end it there. Again, the next video, we're going to format the other spreadsheet. It's going to be a little more involved. We're going to do some of the same tips and tricks that we did in this video, and then we're going to move on to some more advanced videos. So if this was pretty easy for you, go ahead and skip the next day 3 and go right to day 4. But if this was useful, or you want to learn a little more and cement it in your mind, come to day 3. I'll show you again how to do some of these things and add in a few other quick tips and tricks. Thanks for joining me. Hopefully my mic is sounding a little better today. And please email me if you have any questions or Excel solutions that I can help you out with. I'd be happy to run through them. Thanks.